السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. لعل الهدف الأسمى هو مد جسور التواصل والحوار بين المجتمعين الإيرلندي والسوري. من هنا كانت الرحلات المتعاقبة بين البلدين مع البروفيسور دكلين هايز وطريقه إلى دمشق للاحتفال بالقديس باتريك والفعاليات المتنوعة من الداخل. معكم زينب صفار، تابعونا. يوم ترتدي فيه الشوارع والمعالم والناس اللون الأخضر. هو يوم ربيعي مرتبط برحيل شفيع إيرلندا القديس باتريك، والذي يصادف في 17 من آذار مارس من كل عام. وتصحب هذا العيد الديني احتفالات متنوعة حول العالم، احتفاء بالثقافة الإيرلندية عبر المسيرات والأطعمة الخاصة والموسيقى والرقص. القديس باتريك عاش خلال القرن الخامس للميلاد، حيث ولد في بريطانيا الرومانية، وفي سن 16 اختطف وأحضر إلى إيرلندا كعبد. باتريك تمكن من الهروب، ولكنه سرعان ما عاد إلى إيرلندا جالبا معه الديانة المسيحية إلى أهلها. وفي القرون التي تلت وفاة القديس باتريك أصبحت الأساطير المحيطة بحياته متأصلة أكثر في الثقافة الإيرلندية، لا سيما استخدام نبات الشمذر أو الشامروك ذي 3 ورقات نسبة إلى الثالوث بحسب المراجع كرمز ليوم القديس باتريك وإيرلندا. بيد أنه من المثير للاهتمام أن أول مسيرة لتكريم ذكرى القديس باتريك لم تحدث في إيرلندا، بل في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية في عام 1762، حيث قام جنود إيرلنديون يخدمون في الجيش الإنجليزي بتنظيم استعراض في نيويورك سيتي احتفالا برحيله. الدكتور دكلين هايز الناشط السياسي والأستاذ في الإدارة المالية من إيرلندا يزور سوريا ويحمل الاحتفالات بالقديس باتريك إلى قلب المنطقة الحدث. فما الهدف من وراء زيارته السابعة إلى دمشق؟ وما الأنشطة التي قامت بها الوفود المشاركة ضمن مبادرة إنقاذ سوريا؟ ومن برأيه المستفيد من تدمير البلاد ومن الإبقاء على استمرارية هذا الصراع اليوم؟ Dr. Dukleen Hayes, Professor of Finance from Ireland and political activist, welcome to الداخل from the inside, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome again.
Yes, that's right. We met before, just after Malula was liberated by the Syrian army, and in fact I was in Malula today.
Right. We're going to talk about your visit today, but before that, today, Dukleen, you're bringing St. Patrick Day, the celebrations of St. Patrick Day, into this war-torn country, this conflict area. Now, to start, how do you define St. Patrick? What is the meaning? What is the symbolism of bringing St. Patrick and celebrating with the Syrians this specific day?
St. Patrick's Day is the Irish National Day, and it is when people are happy and peaceful and no discrimination and no violence. So people are just having a holiday, not only in Ireland but also in America, Australia and many other places. They celebrate it in Egypt, Japan, Russia, China and many other countries. So we're here to show that the Syrian people just want to be normal and to do normal things. We happen to be Irish, so that's what we bring to the table. We were in Aleppo, Malula and other places, giving a little degree of normality. Also,
but why St. Patrick Day and not any other occasion? For example?
we happen to be Irish, so it's our day. And really, what I'm doing is picking on any reason to come to Syria and help the Syrian people. So
this is your 7th visit.
This is my 7th visit. So we're coming back on Halloween and on Christmas. And Halloween is the 31st of October, and the Balfour Declaration 100 is the 2nd of November. So we're going to be back for that. And what's different about this visit and future visits is we now have a professional team in Syria to help us. Now, that's also important because the solution for Syria has to be in the hands of Syrians. It's not foreigners coming in trying to impose a solution. I'm talking about the soft war, not the hard war. So our thing is to work through any existing approved Syrian group or society, and we met very many of them everywhere we went. So I am particularly happy with this 7th visit to Syria.
Tell me about your approach, Dr. Haiz, when you come here, when you plan a trip to Syria. What would be the goal of this trip? Does each trip has a specific goal?
No, the overall goal is Syria has a very, very big problem and it needs a solution, right? Now, there's a military side and there's a non-military side. There's a hard war and there's a soft war. So I'm really involved in the soft war now, whether I like it or not, okay? So from the point of view of Ireland, and I happen to be Irish, I'm not from New Zealand or Canada or anywhere else, we have to do two things. We have to bring Syrian people living in Syria and supporting Syria to Ireland and to the European Union to put their point of view.
And you actually did that.
I did that, and we can talk about that.
We will talk about it later.
And also to bring Irish and other people to Syria so they can see. Now,
what is the criteria of this exchange? What kind of people, you know, what Irish people or Scottish or Australian or whatever?
Okay, as in Palestine, what's happening is the Syrians are being killed in silence. They're just being murdered, dispossessed, etc. Right? When you have private conversations with Syrians, and I've had them in Palestine with Palestinians, they wonder why nobody is helping them and why they're being thrown to the four corners of the world. Now, I personally object to this, right? With every human being in the world, we have to draw a line in the sand. I could go to Saudi Arabia and earn big money, as could other people I know, but I have decided I'm better to come here, spend my own money and try to help. Now, what we are looking for is a professional approach to the soft war side of the equation, as there is a professional approach to the hot war with Russia, Iran and various other powers helping Syria. The situation at the moment is tiny Armenia has given more help than the entire European Union, right? Everywhere I go in Syria, I see the lies of the European Union, that every child I meet is a target of those sanctions, right? So what we have to do is to try to break that. The objective, the mission is what's important. The criterion is, can anybody help with that? Now we have, we only have the marginal people essentially, because if anybody helps Syria, they become a target of Syria's very big and very powerful enemies. I've experienced that myself, and the people, artists and others who've come with us this time and others who have come with us the past have been targets. But that's the price you have to pay for internal honesty and integrity, and it's okay with me. As I say, to try to build a movement or a group of individuals and people to help Syria. I cannot explain the final solution to Syria for you, because Syria has so many enemies. So I'm only, if you like one of those little soldiers at the checkpoint. You know, it's not up for him to decide the overall military strategy to you. His job is to man that checkpoint, right? So this is a process. It's not a one-off solution, and the Syrians often think, and this is a very important point for what we'll come to later, speaking about the visit to Ireland. They think that President Assad will again next week or next month or next year stay in Buckingham Palace, again shake hands with Her Majesty the Queen, meet President Trump, whatever, and everybody will be friends. That's not it. The sad reality is there are groups of very powerful groups in this part of the world, backed by the most powerful forces in the world, who want to destroy the Syrian Arab Republic, everything it stands for, and not only Syria, but Lebanon, Yemen,
Iraq,
and so on. Just let me mention Yemen very briefly, that I was going through the subway, the tube in London, and I saw ads to give money to Oxfam, etc., for Yemen, for relief in Yemen. So they're selling mass weapons of mass destruction to Saudi Arabia. They're helping the Saudi Arabian military forces, if we can call them that, to destroy Syria, to destroy Yemen, and then they're collecting pennies to help the starving in Syria, in Yemen, who are starving because of their crimes.
So it's a kind of double standard policy, you know? They just try to help them with the one hand and they try to beat them with the other.
Well, again, the war in Syria is actually a world war, and I think everybody has to, all people of goodwill have to join that war on the soft side of the ledger. If we look at what's happening on the soft war in Syria, they're pumping tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars into rebel-held Syria. US aid is using Ireland through this discredited group goal to put $53 million a year into Idlib. Now, I could not go to Idlib because I get my head cut off, right? If we look at the history, the recent history of Syria, there's been Al-Qusayr freed by Hezbollah. Then there was Yarmouk camp, everybody was crying about. There was Malula, there was Palmyra, there was Aleppo especially, there was Homs. And once the Syrian army and its allies free it, we hear no more about it. As I say, tiny Yemen, tiny Armenia has put more into help Syrian people than the entire European Union. And that is an indictment of the entire European Union, including Ireland. I was in Aleppo a few days ago, and there were little 5-year-old, 6-year-old girls carrying big pails of water, right? That's the reality. Why are all these humanitarian groups, so-called humanitarian groups in the West, not helping that little girl and all the other little girls and boys like her in Syria?
Dr. Duklan, we're going to talk more about these issues and also to talk about the delegation of Syrians that you have taken to Ireland and the outcome of their visit, but we have to stop now for a short break. Okay? إذن فاصل قصير ونعود، لا تذهبوا بعيدا.
دكلين هايز الكاتب والناشط الإيرلندي وأحد المشاركين في مبادرة إنقاذ سوريا يخبرنا من الداخل عن تنسيقه لقدوم السوريين من مختلف أطياف المجتمع السوري إلى إيرلندا وما النتيجة والتحديات التي واجهها في سياق التحضير لهذه الزيارة.
The delegation included Muslim and Christian leaders, His Grace the Grand Mufti, His Beatitude the Greek Melkite Patriarch Laham, and His Holiness Pope Patriarch Ephraim of the Syriac Orthodox Church. I want to begin with the last of them, Patriarch Ephraim, if I may. Before he visited Ireland, he was in London, where he opened a new cathedral for St. Thomas, and His Royal Highness Prince Charles attended that function, and Her Majesty the Queen sent a message of congratulations, and 3 of his archbishops directly under him in terms of responsibility were refused visas to go to this event in London that Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness Prince Charles supported. To get a visa is more than half of the battle, and unless you support the Muslim Brotherhood, in other words, unless you support killing those little girls and boys we spoke about, you will not get a visa to Britain. Ireland is slightly different, so we'll move on to Ireland as a representation of many other countries. to get the Grand Mufti to Syria, I managed to get 2 patriarchs, which because of protocol reasons is extremely difficult. Normally they don't like to travel together for internal reasons. However, I managed to do it, and that was not made a story. They were not interviewed as part of what they think about this and that. There are over 1,000 followers of the Syriac Orthodox Church in Ireland, and their story should have been interesting, not least because their archbishops have been murdered up in northeastern Syria, those who were not denied visas to Britain. So it was a very powerful delegation. Some people objected to it, the Muslim Brotherhood objected to it, and people like that. Let me say that they pick a target, and in this case the target was the Grand Mufti. So they paint the Grand Mufti out as, you know, a bad person. And one of the people who objected to him and who was on Irish television objecting to him was Dr. Ali Salim of the Klonsky Mosque, which is essentially run by the Muslim Brotherhood, it is alleged. And the same gentleman, Dr. Ali Salim, who was objecting to the Grand Mufti, has actually been at protests at the Belgian embassy with Terry Khaled Kelly, as he called himself, a suicide bomber from an Irish background who blew himself up in Iraq trying to murder people. So we have an apologist, essentially, a friend of suicide bombers in Ireland, on the television saying that he's a moderate Muslim and people who he opposes are not should not be allowed into Ireland.
Like the Mufti.
Like the Mufti in particular. But this is not personal to the Mufti. They're against all Syrians having a say. There was a stupid woman, a senator in the Irish Parliament, shooting off. She said the very same things against the Russian ambassador, Maxim Peskov, His Excellency Maxim Peskov, who's a very accomplished diplomat and who brushed her aside like the fool that she is. But what you must remember is that when you attack the targets in this part of the world, Iran, Hezbollah, Syria, etc., you win big points in the United States of America and America's allies. So even though you may speak from a position of total ignorance, which in my opinion Ivana Bacik did, you win brownie points at the American embassy. And that's important because America is trying to colonize us.
Declan, who benefits from destroying Syria?
Well, there's a lot
and
of
keeping this conflict ongoing.
Well, there's a lot of people benefit, and it's never been any different in history. The beneficiaries are the arms industry, the finance industry, and those who have a certain vision of the world, which includes turning Syria, in particular in this case, into a market to sell rubbish goods like McDonald's hamburgers and so on. Now, I mentioned McDonald's hamburgers for a very particular reason. As you know very well, from Lebanon to Iran, the food culture, let's just look at food, it's very sophisticated, and some of the food is really beautiful. And we had a stupid jihadist woman coming from London who was on Channel 4 News the day His Highness Prince George was born, and she, from a Pakistani background, was complaining that there was no McDonald's hamburgers to be had in Idlib, right? So you have these stupid people coming here, they know nothing about the culture, including the food, and they are the foot soldiers of people who are not stupid. And who are those people? That's what you're asking me. In my opinion, with Daesh and al-Nusra and so on, you don't just assemble an army like that. They are formidable fighters. So it's been shown that America, all the intelligence agencies, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, etc., are behind them. You do not get an army, and that's what they are, with command, control and coordination without people with huge experience in those areas. And they're the people. They want this entire part of the world destroyed. If we look more locally...
Concerning all this, Duklan, why aren't the people in your part of the world, in your country, outraged at what's going on here? They are not moved.
Well, you must look at the dynamics of...
Why were you moved and others not?
Well, I'm not important in the overall picture. What's important is most good people in the West are bamboozled by the television and the media, which switches the argument all the time, right? We're told Assad or Nasrallah or somebody in Iran, they're the big villain in a cowboys and Indians type of thing, that the Americans somehow are always the good people, even though they committed mass war crimes in Iraq, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Now, then the narrative is switched to concentrate on, for example, refugees, and to say that these groups who are helping in Idlib, that they're the good people, you see? Mm-hmm. Whereas people like me, we're, you know, helping the evil Syrians, those little girls who are carrying big pails of water, who are never given a voice. So the good people are corralled like sheep or cattle into a little pen where they believe that helping refugees, not helping the people who are brave enough to stay in Syria or who cannot leave Syria, is the way to solve their conscience. Mm-hmm. So on the one side we have that little girl carrying her big pails of water, and on the other side, as we see with the white helmets and stuff like that, which is, you know, a transparent fraud, as we see with Bana, who is an abused little fraud. We have the biggest media companies in the world. We have the BBC, in effect, issuing statements essentially condoning suicide bombing in Damascus, as we saw the other day, right? Mm-hmm. Now, they're doing what they have to do. Our job is to try to change the balance as much as we can, and to send out a message that, well, look, we might be the minority, we might be weak, but we're not going to give up, and in the end, we are going to win.
Allow me to ask you my last question, if I may. Where better, and this is an observation, to gather data for and give academic papers on such things than Syria and Yemen, where NATO has made them everyday parts of life and death? What is your last message from Syria to Ireland today, again, after you wrapped up your visit, sir?
Again, on the academic side of things, we try to bring people interested in atrocity studies, like what's going on in Yemen and Syria, but they have been bullied by the big powers into not coming. However, we will continue with this. We have plans to come back to Syria again and again and again, and we also have concrete plans to bring more Syrian delegations to Ireland and to other European countries, and I'm going to continue to work on that for the next few years.
Hopefully. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, and I wish you and your station, which is a beacon of hope to very many people throughout the world, the best of hope as well.
Many thanks indeed, Dr. Dukleen Hayes, Professor of Finance from Ireland and also a political activist. Again, many thanks indeed for joining us.
شكرا.
Always welcome, sir. إذا لقاء جديد في الأسبوع المقبل مع ضيف جديد وقضية جديدة ودائما من الداخل. للمزيد من التواصل بريدنا theinside@almayadeen.net وصفحتنا على الفيسبوك من الداخل، من كل فريق عمل من الداخل من كل الميادين من دمشق. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.